Fashion Flow fam, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, then stick around as if you love me, and if you do, then subscribe and turn on the notification bell. If you're not new here, then welcome back. Thank you for loving me as much as I love you, and let's get right into this video. So y'all, I'm so freaking excited. First of all, I haven't done a sit down talking video in a little minute. Second of all, I haven't done a story time in 6 freaking months. Yo, how crazy is that? 6 months, y'all, ain't done no story time video. And what's wild is this story time video is like directly related to the last story time video. So stop where you are right now. Please go to the story time, playlist, or I'm gonna put it right here and I'll put it in the description box below. Go watch that story time first, then come back to this video. So this is gonna be about that guy. So I think his name, we're gonna call him Jeremy. We're gonna call his twin brother Joshua. So Jeremy and Joshua was twins. If you see that story time, then you already know basically what happened between me and him. We dated for a little while. We was kids. He cheated on me. We broke up. Blase, blase, blase. This story happens a couple of years later. In this between time, me and Jeremy stayed cool. We stayed friends. We was cool. And same thing with me and Joshua. We all was rocking. So moving on. The reason why I probably haven't told the story time before is because the people involved in this story I'm still cool with to this day. Now, one of them I'm cool with, but I keep my distance for a reason type stuff. Like, you know, like people who you ain't got no bad blood with, but the way that they move and the way they seem to continue to move, it's just like, I don't know. So moving forward, I moved up north for like a year or so and then came back to my hometown. This was a pivotal change in my life because for the majority of my life up to this point, and this is towards the end of high school, I had the same group of friends. I never had any different friends. I had the same homies from birth till then. And when I came back from moving up north for a year, I'm thinking I'ma still have the same friends. The people that was my best friends would still be my best friends. But relationships has changed. The church that I went to, which is where all my close friends was, had became cliquish. So people had kind of branched off. And I took that kind of hard. I ain't gonna hold you because 2 of my best friends, the people who I was closest to, had branched off to 2 completely different groups. And one of which, who was like my best friend at the time, somebody who I thought I would be friends with forever and a day, like distanced herself from me pretty heavily. And she had started doing that when I moved up north. So I figured, you know, long distance friendships wasn't working for her. I don't know. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. There's just a little bit backstory so y'all can see where my mindset was at this time. But it was different for me. I was realizing like friendships were changing, people were getting cliquies, and I didn't really know where I fit because I didn't really feel like I fit into any of these little groups. Despite the fact that I had friendships, people that I really, really cared about in every group. So moving forward, when I first came back, it was the summertime. And I found out that Jeremy was dating one of the girls in my friendship group, somebody who I was cool with. Now, at this time, me and her weren't close. We were just cool. But I was close with everybody she was close with. So we were just friends by default, which is funny because she's one of my best friends now. And I don't even talk to none of them other people. But at the time, we were going to call her Aria. Don't know why Aria. Leave me alone. We're going to call her... No, we're going to call her Spencer. That's what we're going to call her. So her name is Spencer. And if you guys have seen Pretty Little Liars, then you know why I call her Spencer. And she knows. We've had this conversation. But Spencer and Jeremy started dating. And I knew this, but it was just like information. I was like, oh, okay. Like when it was first brought to my attention, people was like still thinking of Jeremy as my ex, which to me was and is funny because we were children and we dated for like 5 seconds. And I never thought of him like that again. So anyway, they were dating and they were in a good, like solid, like relationship. Okay, I'm not gonna say good and solid, but they were in a relationship. And I didn't know nothing about their relationship. I ain't have no issue with none of their stuff with their relationship. I didn't know anything about it because me and her did not talk about that. So moving forward, when I first got back, it was about to be her birthday. And she was supposed to have a birthday party. Now, nobody knew I was coming back. I came and I surprised everybody. So when I came and I surprised everybody, they were like, oh, yeah, because Spencer's having a birthday, blah, 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 blah. And Spencer was like, oh, yeah, you can come. Now, that's how the conversation pretty much went because it was a last-minute invitation. It was literally the upcoming weekend. I think it was like that Sunday and it was like Friday or something. It was just very, very last-minute invitation. And I guess the party had been planned. I don't know. But they were like, oh, yeah, you can come. It's at this time and blah, 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 blah. So I was like, cool, I go to the party. Now, it's so crazy thinking about this because this actually low-key, like, sometimes, even though, like, me and Spencer are, like, that's still, like, my bestie. Like, I love living crap out of her. Sometimes when I think about this story, I still get a little bit triggered because I was already going through, one, my dog had just died. That was another thing. My dog that I loved, his name was Lucky, had just died that day. The day that I went to the church to surprise my friends, my dog had died. And everybody was in these cliques, and I was in a very confused state. Like, I didn't know where I fit anymore. Like, it was just a weird thing for me. But moving on, I get to the party. I'm thinking everything is great. There are positive vibes. I walk in and I see heck of people that I know and love. I see Spencer and I see, well, since I can't think of any other names, we're going to go with the Pretty Little Liars cast. So I'm going to go Spencer, which is the main area, and then I see Hannah and I see Aria. That's her name, right? Aria? And so I see them, and then I see this other girl, we're going to call her Allison, who's also one of my very, very, very close friends to this day. And that was actually me and her first time seeing each other in person. We had spoken, quick backstory, I'm sorry, there's stories within the stories within the stories. But me and Allison had actually spoken via Facebook before because she thought that I was dating and that I liked Joshua, and her and Joshua had a thing at the time, which is Jeremy's twin brother, if you don't remember. So they had a thing at the time. Hopefully y'all keep up all these names. I'm trying my best to do it myself. But yeah, so Allison was there, and that's gonna play a key part in the story. So we got throughout the day, and I am also feeling some uncomfortable vibes. I'm not even gonna give her a name, but we're gonna say Spencer's big sister. I was getting vibes from her specifically because I didn't even really know her parents like that. And I didn't know her sister. Actually, that was my first time ever meeting or seeing her sister. But she was giving me all this energy, and I didn't know what the energy was about. So I come in, and the first people I see is Joshua, and Jeremy on the floor. And so I walk in the room and I see them, and they're just like, Ricky! Like, because this was their first time seeing me since I moved up north. So they're hyped because we're all friends. And I didn't tell them that I had moved back. So they're like lit to see me. And I sit with the both of them, and they're just like, yo, blah, 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 laughing, kiki, and we're all like, so I'm sitting down and I'm talking to them because I had already talked to everybody else. I said hey to everybody else, of course, but I had already talked to everybody else and caught up with everybody else. I'm assuming because Spencer was sitting on the couch. And I remember this vividly because of stuff that happened later. But Spencer was sitting on the couch, and they were sitting on the floor, and there was no more room on any of the couches. There was nowhere to sit, so I sat on the floor with them. And there was other people on the floor. We weren't the only ones on the floor, but there was other people on the floor. I just don't know who it was. And I was talking to them, like catching up, telling them like, oh yeah, I moved back, blah blah blah. This is going on, blase blase. This is what school I'm going to. You know, we just chatting it up, and we're laughing like normal kiki and stuff. I turn around, talk to mingle with some other people. At some point, Allison is dancing, and she pretending like she don't know how to sexy dance and stuff, like, oh, this is not of God, knowing that that's what she be doing and stuff. So like I was like kikiing with everybody. The person who I wasn't really getting to talk to was Spencer. Now, the reason why I felt that was at the time, and even now, is because at that moment, I did not feel as close with Spencer as I did with everybody else. But Spencer was still somebody who I considered my friend. So I didn't think of it as like a big deal. Now, then later on, like time goes by, everybody wants to go outside and do like water guns, and everybody, I guess, I don't know if they had planned this. I don't remember what was going on, but it was something going on outside with water. And I wasn't with it. So I was like, yeah, no, I'm gonna stay right here. So I sat on the couch, and it was Joshua, I think. It was either Joshua, Jeremy, or both of them that stayed with me along with Allison. And now, mind you, I told you me and Allison had spoke before about like her and Joshua, and I told her, yeah, I used to date Jeremy, we don't know more. Joshua told me he liked me, but we not a thing, and da-da-da-da. And I, we had a whole key conversation, and we was cool. We had talked a lot on Facebook like we was friends. So seeing each other was like, oh yeah, girl face, da-da-da-da. And so after that, we're all sitting there, we're all talking and laughing. I'm pretty sure it was me, Joshua, and Allison. I don't feel like Jeremy was there, but I remember us all conversating and laughing. This is going to be important because of later. So fast forward, at some point, everybody's in the thing, and they're about to do the birthday cake, or they're about to do something. I don't remember what was about to happen, but they said, where's Spencer? So I didn't peep that there was a lot of other people missing, like Hannah and Aria and this girl, we gonna call her Messy, because even though she was a part of the friendship group, and she is somebody who I'm not necessarily beefing with, she was messy. That was just who she was. So we gonna call her Messy. So I went upstairs, and I heard Ricky. I heard my name through the door. I'm walking towards the door, and I hear my name. And I was like, and so I opened the door, because I'm the type of person who's just gonna stand there and listen. Like, if you're gonna say my name, whatever it is that's being said, we can say it. So I open the door and this is what I see. I see Spencer, well, at least that I remember. There might have been more people in there, but who I remember was Spencer, Hannah. Is that who I said Hannah was? We don't say that's who I said Hannah was. Spencer, Hannah, Messy, and Spencer's older sister. And I didn't know what the conversation was. And so I said, y'all said my name? And she was like, and the older sister was like, we were just wondering how you were getting home, who's going to come pick you up, because we didn't talk about that. And so I told them, I was like, oh, my uncle's coming to get me, blah, 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 blah. So I said, they're looking for you downstairs. Something I said. I don't remember what I said, but then I turned around. But when I turned around, something fell off. I knew that I was just lied to. Like, I knew it, but I kind of just let it slide. I was just like, I don't know that girl. I'm not going to judge her. But I had a feeling that whatever she just said wasn't what was said. Like, I felt like way more was said. There was an energy when I walked in the room, and it was a judgy energy. It was an energy of animosity and stuff like that. There was some kind of negative something going on when I walked in that room, and I felt it. But I was just like, let me mind my business. And I turned around and I walked out. And I'm assuming that if there was a negative energy, it had nothing to do with me, because I ain't do nothing to nobody. So I was like, I know ain't nobody mad at me, so I'm leaving, right? I know ain't nobody mad at me, right? So I'm leaving, and later on, like, the day goes on, and as the day goes on, as the party goes on, I'm feeling so uncomfortable. I realized that certain people, like people who was in my friendship group, I don't know why this is so triggering for me, but it kind of is. And it was because, I mean, my feelings was really hurt. Not even because of Spencer herself or the situation with Spencer, but because of the other people in the group that I thought were my friends. And it was like they seemed to intentionally kind of avoid me, especially like Hannah and Aria and Messy. And then her sister was like giving me, I saw her sister while she was cutting the cake eyeballing me from the corner over there by the cake. Now, mind you, her sister is like 10, 15 years. Her sister is way older than us, okay? She grown while we are children. She grown. Not grown like, oh, she like 18, like, no, she was grown. Okay? I'm getting these negative vibes. I wanted to go home. So the party goes on, I leave, right? So it's a week later. Week later. And we get to my church and we're having rehearsal. I still felt vibes, but nobody was doing or saying anything different to me. Rehearsal was going along as usual. So then Messy and me ended up like cornering off by ourselves somehow. And Messy at the time, that was my little boo-boo thing. Like, she was younger than the rest of us. That was my little baby. I loved her. I still love her, but I just don't talk to her now. But we went out that way, and we got to talking about the party a little bit. And then I said something like, yeah, and it was real weird. And I walked outside, y'all was talking, and she was like, and I was like, what? And she was like, girl, let me tell you. So basically, like, Messy, when I say you, I did not have to pry. Messy was happy to tell me this information, okay? She was happy to do it. And she was like, they was talking about you. Basically, they was saying you was flirting with Jeremy and da-da-da-da-da, and you was blah, 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 blah. Like, basically, they was talking mess about me, saying, oh, they said that I wasn't invited. I wasn't originally invited, and I just invited myself. That was one. Two was that I was flirting with Jeremy right in front of Spencer and all this other stuff. And apparently, like, that's what Spencer was telling her sister and was telling the whole room. Like, she was mad and she felt like I was being and I already had like a reputation for being a hoe, which was a whole thing in and of itself. I could do a whole video about the foolishness about these so-called church folks and me being a hoe as a virgin who never even kissed none of them little boys. They was all my friends. That was simply it. But if I was with a boy and we was laughing, I was being fast. That's the way it was. Don't make no fucking sense. But anyway, But anyway, so when she was telling me that, when I tell y'all I saw red, I was like, nigga, what? I was like, first of all, Jeremy is ill. Ew. Second of all, we was all having normal conversation. I did not realize that telling this little dude what a high school I'm going to and laughing with him and Joshua, because I wasn't just talking to one of them, I was talking to both of them. So I was like, I didn't give him no special attention. So I was confused. And I was like, and then she was like, yeah, girl. But Messy was hyping me up. She was making it worse. I was there confused at first. But then Messy was sitting on the sidelines talking about something. Now, while Spencer and the group was walking out of the building, we was already outside in the parking lot. They're walking out, and I'm looking at them, and Messy right there like, yeah, girl, that's fake. Da-da-da-da-da. She over here pretending to be your friend, and she was dogging you, like she was talking about you, blah, 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 blah. So I'm like, in my mind, I did not know how to handle this, because I'm the type of person that once I fight you, we can't be friends after that, which is why I don't fight my friends, because I'm the type of person who I take my friendships extremely seriously. If you my homie, you my homie. I will literally ride to the death for you. And people who are close to me know this already. So I was like trying to figure out how to deal with that situation. I was mad, I ain't gonna lie. When I saw her, I wanted to go over there and run her to one. I am not going to hold you. That's what the me back then wanted to do. But I was like, I'm not gonna do that. I was like, I don't even want to talk to her. I'm not dealing with her. That stuff is fake. I was like, that's stupid. She ain't even asked me about it. Nobody said nothing to me about it. Like, why would you? I was mad. Time moves forward, right? I spend that the next day was church, and I didn't talk to her. Like, everybody else was saying hello, and I know she peeped it because I could see her looking like, why are you doing that? But I could see that she peeped it, but I did not care. So I'm looking at her, and I say hey to everybody else, give everybody else hugs, like, hey girl, hey girl, and then I completely ignore her. So this camera gonna overheat, and I'll have to switch my other camera in a minute. So if that happens, it looks different. Sorry, it's just the way it is sometimes. So I'm like doing that, right? So then the next weekend, I am with Allison. Me and Allison start spending a lot of time together. Me and Allison, actually, after that, me and Allison became very close. After we actually got to meet in person, that became my best friend for a long time. Like, she's still one of my best friends. Like, top tier. I was at her wedding. She gonna be at my wedding. We like this. That's my baby. And so when I go to, I was at Allison's house. And this is where stuff gets messy. This is where it actually, like, messy was being messy, but this is where it was getting messy. Like, it was starting to get, like, crazy. And actually, I might want to talk to her before I even post this video, but me and Spencer had never, like, I hadn't told Spencer about this portion of the story. But when we got into, and some of the stuff is the reason why I'm not saying nobody names, because we were children. Everybody was, like, childish. There was stuff going on with everybody, so we're not going to judge anybody. But Spencer calls Allison while I'm at Allison's house. And I tell Allison not to tell Spencer that I'm there. And I'm like, don't tell her that I'm there. Don't say nothing. So she answers the phone. Oh, this pissed me off. I'm not even gonna hold you. This pissed me off. I was so mad. I'm sitting on the other line like this, like I'm wilding. Like, I'm literally doing too much. So she gets on the phone with her, and they got to the conversation. Like, she led her pretty much to the conversation about me, like the whole situation. Because, quick backstory. Apparently, when me and Allison talked about it, they were telling Allison that I was also flirting with Joshua. So Allison was like, yeah, she was kind of mad. But then when it was just us, that's why I told that part of the story. When it was just us, while everybody was outside throwing water, she realized I was just talking normal. I wasn't flirting. I wasn't being cute. I wasn't doing none of that. I was just talking to them. She saw that with her own eyes, and she was like, oh, this, not that. They're just misinterpreting. And we had that conversation, and I was telling her, like, I don't know why everybody would just assume that I'm out here just flirting with people's niggas. I ain't never done it before. Like, I was like, I don't understand. There's no evidence to support that I just be out here flirting with people's niggas. Like, I just don't understand why that was in anybody's mind. And so when she calls her, I was like, see if you can, like, talk her to make some sense, like, thinking, like, so that she'll talk to me, because I was waiting for her to approach me, because I felt like if you was the person with the problem, I'm not about to go to you about your problem with me. I'm not about to do that. So she ended up guiding her to the conversation, and the stuff that I heard is the reason that I became to the point where I was about to be done with the friendship, not gonna give a crap. I was like, and if it gets to the point where you piss me off again, yes, I'll run you to one. Like, that was the energy I was on after this conversation. So she was like, well, Allison, you don't really know Ricky like I know Ricky, and you don't know Ricky like the rest of us, and she can be really sneaky, and, you know, she's not really like that type of person. Like, she's not really da-da-da-da-da. And basically making it seem like, oh, I may seem innocent to her because I'm being nice around her, because Allison told her that I said that it wasn't like that, but she was like, you don't know Ricky like I know Ricky, and she said she has a reputation. Now, the reason why I don't fault Spencer for this is because I did have a reputation, and me and Spencer weren't close. And I feel like at that time, Spencer did not know enough about me personally to be able to make a decision that these rumors were completely baseless. That's neither here nor there. So when she said that, when I tell y'all I was mad, I'm sitting in the background like this. Everything, like, I'm doing all of the things, because I'm just like, yo, if the light's changing, I'm sorry, because stuff is just happening outside. I don't know what's going on. But I was like, yo, she really doing this right now. She really saying this right now about me. Like, I was shook, y'all. Like, I was pissed. At that point, I low-key wanted to fight. I was like, yo, she wanna run this one. We can do this. And not even over him, because but just off principle, because y'all really making it seem like I be out here flirting with other people's men. And it was like the vibes, like nobody's even talking to me. Like, it pissed me off so bad, y'all. I was like, nobody's even confronting me or saying, yo, it seemed like blah, 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 so I can set you straight and we can move on with our lives, because nobody wanted that little alien looking nigga. Nobody wanted him. So I was so mad, y'all. So after that situation, I was even more mad. And a couple of weeks went by before the conversation actually happened that needed to happen. I would see her at church and I would act like I did not know she existed. I would talk to everybody else around her. I wouldn't look at her. She would say happy Sabbath to me and I would just and that was the energy. That was the type of time I was on, because one, I knew if I did speak, it was going to be mad disrespectful. And I also knew that she was a sensitive one in the group. And to be honest, for whatever reason, I was not trying to hurt her feelings. I don't know what that was about, because that's not usually how I was. But I wasn't trying to hurt her feelings and I wasn't trying to cuss her out like that. And then one day we had a conversation via Twitter. And when that conversation happened, I really wasn't sure we were going to be friends. And I'm not even really sure how that conversation ended. I don't know what happened. I don't know if we squashed it or if she finally understood my point. But we had a conversation via Twitter and she was saying stuff like, I don't feel like friends should be, because I was saying like me and Jeremy are very good friends. We're very close friends. And she's like, I just don't feel like friends should be friends with their friends as boyfriends. And I was like, I said, well, can friends be friends with their friends as girlfriends? Because I was friends with him before I ever knew you. Like, and that's what I was saying. I was like, I've been his friend. I'm not going to stop being his friend because I became your friend. I was like, if anything, me being his friend should make you feel better, because when he doing you dirty, I can cuss him out. I can be like, yo, get your ish together. If he wrong, I can tell him he wrong. And you know what I'm saying? Like, that's where my head, I never thought anything of, like, my friends could be friends with my boyfriend. And to this day, my friends are friends with my fiance. And you know, obviously at this time that's how she felt, but that's not how she felt now, because she is friends with my fiance. Like, they cool. So this was like, we was just all childish, and I wasn't handling it right, because during this conversation I was cussing her the freak out. Like, I was snapping. I was like, yeah, you stupid, da, 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 da. Like, all this stuff is dumb. I was calling her everything but a child of God, and I was mad. I was blatantly upset, and I was going off and I was acting like I was upset. So I was going off and I was kind of like, yo, this situation is getting out of hand. I was like, I do not like him. I do not want him. And I would not do that to somebody who is my friend. Even if I did want him, which would have been valid, seeing as how I dated him before anybody else did. But if I did want him, I told her, I was like, if I did want him, I would have went after him. And no, I would have told him, I would have told you I was the type of girl who, if I liked your nigga and you asked me, I would have said yes. And there was going to be nothing you could do about it, because first of all, I don't chase nobody. So it wasn't like it was anything I was going to do. I was just going to like him and it's just going to be a fact. But I'm not going to do anything about it regardless. And hold on. And even if I did, it was just like, what were you going to do? I was like, why would I lie to you about liking him? That's what was confusing me. I was like, why would I lie to anybody about who I want to be with or who I like? I said, first of all, at the time I had a boyfriend. I was not single. I was not a single young lady. And second of all, I hadn't liked him in forever. It had been a long time since I even thought about this dude on that level, on that type of time. But despite the fact that he used to say all the time to me, to Allison, and to his brother Joshua, like, oh, I would drop anybody. And this was before Spencer, and even after Spencer, like when he was dating other girls, he was like, oh, if Ricky says she wanted me, I would drop whoever I'm dating to be with her, type stupid. He was weird like that. And he never said it to me, but he definitely said it to Allison. He definitely said it to Joshua, and both of them told me on different occasions. And that was like, I didn't know any of that though until after all of this situation. So I was like, yo, like, I don't want him. I said, if I did, I would tell you. I'm not afraid of you. Why would I lie about it? I was like, one thing about me, even if I'm wrong, I'm not going to be sneaky about my wrongs. If I do something that's not cool, I'm going to do it and I'm going to stand 10 toes on it. Whatever I do it and I stand 10 toes on it. I ain't got no reason to hide, to lie, none of that. And I've been like that since birth. My parents will tell you that my dad would ask me, like, did you do this? And I would be like, yes. You know, I'm sure when I was a kid, I lied a little bit because kids lie. But once I got older, I was honest. If I cussed out a teacher and my parents asked me about it, yes, I cussed out the teacher. And this is why. I was always standing 10 toes on my BS. Always. That's how I've always been. So, and at the time, I was trying to explain to her the type of person that I was. I was like, I am not the type of friend that would betray your trust and start talking to somebody who you want to be. Like, I'm not the type of person. I would never do that to you. I was like, you're supposed to be my friend. I have no reason to lie and act like I'm your friend and then I'm not your friend. That's not the type of person that I am, and you should know that about me. But I don't know why I thought she should have known that about me, because when I really think about it, before these times, I can't think of any actual significant memories with her. Like, I don't think we ever really spent any time together getting to know each other. So I really can't blame her for not knowing the type of person I was. And based off of what was going on at the time, none of my so-called friends was defending my character. None of them. And I don't say that like with no shade, because I'm still cool with everybody who's involved in this situation. But one of the reasons why I distanced myself from this particular friendship group eventually as I got into adulthood is because, one, I always felt like an outsider anyway. Since I moved away and came back, since like, I want to say, when was that? Like my junior year in high school, I always felt like an outsider in this people who was supposed to be my best friends. Always. So, and I was cool with that. I wasn't mad about it. And when situations like this happened, I felt like people really didn't have my back like that. And I wasn't mad about it necessarily. It was just kind of like, why is the people that's supposed to be close with me too not defending my character, not being like, oh, you should talk to her, she's not like that type energy? That's not what was happening. Nobody was saying anything to defend me. And one of them in particular who wasn't defending me kind of threw me off. Like, I was just like, I would feel like if anybody would have defended me, it would have been you. And that was Aria. But it's fine. It's fine. It's cool. I ain't saying nothing about it. It don't matter. It's a long time ago. Who cares? Okay, this lighting, because this like my window's open and it's like really trying to do too much. Anyway, long story short, that whole situation happened. And after that, actually, there was another altercation about the same boy where she had heard that I was with him during camp meeting or something. And so, but this time she texted me about it and was like, yo, everybody was saying that you was with him and y'all was flirting together. And I was like, first of all, it wasn't just me and him. It was like 5 of us. And I wasn't flirting with him. It wasn't like that. We just so happened to both be there. And that's my friend. At the end of the day, I was like, that is my friend. And you're going to have to come to terms with the fact that he is my friend. You're my friend. And I'm not crossing no boundaries. And to this day, I've never crossed no boundaries. I never even came close to crossing no boundaries with that little nigga. Never. Not ever, ever, ever. Okay, so that's pretty much that story time. We ended up squashing the situation, and once we talked about it later on, it was discovered that her older sister, who was like a grown child, was all up in her ear, making her feel like I was doing such and such and such and such. And since nobody who actually knew me was like backing me up in any way, she was just going off the influences that she had, and the influences that she had, Messy was being messy, her sister was being messy, and so she was just going with that, and everybody was like making her feel like, because I feel like she just didn't know me as well. Alright, y'all, so my camera overheated, I'm sorry. But all I was basically saying was, after that situation, when we talked about it, the next time that something similar like that happened, she just talked to me, I told her what was what, and she accepted it. And eventually we ended up, once we've had deeper conversations about it, the real issues were revealed, and we were like, yo, like, we never should have been arguing about this in the first place. She apologized, I apologized, we've been very close ever since. That's still one of my closest friends to this day, and that was like way back when. So now the rest of them, I can honest to God say that I really am not close with them like that anymore, and I don't care to be. And it's not because I don't like them. Like, if they wanted to hang out, we can hang out, but I would never be close with them again, because like I said, I really didn't feel like nobody had my back. And I'm not, even though I don't hold on to stuff, it's just kind of like, I have no need. I don't feel like y'all adding anything. I've been doing great without y'all. So it's like, I don't want to get, I mean, I keep saying it because I want it to be clear, like, I still love these people and I care about these people a lot. But I never felt like any of these people genuinely knew the type of person that I was. I felt like the person that I was dragged through the mud a lot during this time in my life. From like I want to say from childhood up through high school, I was dragged through the mud a lot by adults, other teenagers, and all of it did not have any type of base. When I tell you the church community will take some little stuff and it will be foul, and I will be dragged, and you will be dragged through the mud, and your reputation will never change. People will just keep adding BS to the reputation. Like, I had an attitude. That was the only part of my reputation that was true. I had a bad attitude. That was it. Everything else, completely falsified. When nobody no hoe, when nobody fast, when nobody even thinking about none of these little boys. I had the same boyfriend through most of high school. Like, I wasn't none of that. Like, I wasn't none of the things people were saying that I was. But, and I feel like the friends that I had, even though I was very close to them and I was very attached, and I tried to hold on to those friendships for dear life, I came to the realization once I became an adult and I moved out of my hometown that these people really didn't have my back like that. And so I started, and they really did not care as to whether or not I was around or whether I wasn't around, because I'm not even gonna get into all the reasons. Like, there's stuff that I could be talking about that I could be like, yo, this and this happened, and they really wasn't trying to check for me. Like, I was close, nobody was really trying to check for me. Like, this is a fact. If it was not convenient, nobody was checking for me, and that is a fact. Like, I'm telling y'all, that is a freaking fact. So I'm not about to, I just don't even care. I don't bother with them. Like, I moved back to my hometown. For those of y'all who don't know, I haven't done a video about that, but I moved back to my hometown and I haven't tried to hit up none of them, and I'm not gonna. The people who know are the only people that I'm going to hit up. Anybody else, they're just gonna find out when they find out. And that's no offense, because I still love the people. I feel like I keep explaining myself, but I still love the people that I love. It's just for me to protect my peace. And I also have learned a lot of things growing up between the ages of 18 and now. I learned that a lot of people had like low-key animosities, jealousies. People was really not having my back, even more so than I already thought. Like, a whole lot of stuff. So now I just keep to the friends that I have, the same friends, including Allison, and y'all seen Eccentric Rebel, Tia, y'all know who she is. I ain't give her no fake name because she ain't even in the story. But Allison, what the other girl name? What I call her? Spencer. Those are pretty much my 3 friends. Oh, and my friend Simone. So there's 4 friends. I have 4 friends, pretty much. So that is where we are. Those are my only friends. And when I say friends, I mean like literally the only people that I will talk to and hang out with is them 4 people, period. Like, I don't hang out with nobody else. Nobody else hears from me, none of that, because I just genuinely don't like having unnecessary people in my life and in my circle. But that was a lesson learned. Like, I learned something during that time. I learned, 1, that I should communicate better, because at the time I really was not communicating with Spencer. 2, I learned that fighting is not always the answer, because the fact is, if I had fought her like I wanted to, then we wouldn't have been friends to this day. And that's like, so many things have happened because of that friendship. Like this business, honestly, Cherishing Flow would not be what Cherishing Flow is if I hadn't become friends, as close friends as I did with Spencer. And 3, don't listen to rumors, y'all. People just be talking. He just be saying stuff. You really cannot listen to what other people tell you. You really cannot always listen to the influence. You got to see for yourself with your own eyeballs. That's pretty much it. If y'all enjoyed the story, then like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. Share with your friends, with your mamas, your uncles, your sisters, your cousins, and your besties, and all of that good stuff. And make sure that you leave it in the comments down below what you guys think about the situation. Like I said, we was young, so please don't judge nobody. But if this was your situation, how would you have handled it? Type of deal. I love y'all very much, and I'll see y'all in the next video.